let's race. So we're going to talk about the integumentary system, and that includes our beautiful skin. So it's the largest organ system in the whole body. Thank you. That's how you can say in the world. So then you have cutaneous, which is actually, of course, your skin. So whenever they say cutaneous membrane, you think about the skin. And now the skin is composed of not only skin, but accessory structures. Do you accessorize with your clothing? Yes. So that means what? Nails, hair, and exocrine glands. Nails and hair is made mainly out of what? Keratin. And keratin is a type of protein. And where do you get protein from? Your diet. How many of you are in a diet? One person is in a diet. That means they're two. I can say I'm in a diet. Well, I don't have a diet. That means only two people are getting protein, and the rest of us, what are we doing? Dying. We're dying. Oh my God. No, guys. A diet is what? What is a diet? What is the definition of diet?
The food you eat.
The food. The control. Your daily habits of what? Eating. I believe eating. So anything that you eat per day basis, or per week basis, or per month basis, or per year basis is what? Your diet. Your diet can be composed of a really awesome diet, which is what? Kentucky Fried Chicken, chicharrón, and beer. Right? That could be your diet. Or your diet can be like starvation, which is what? Salad, no dressing, only one apple a day, and the rest of the day, what do? I'm hungry! And on the weekend, I eat. So you're actually not doing any diet. You're just saving the calories for the weekend, right? So a basic diet is that you have to change your eating habits. So that's what your diet is, your eating habits. So you get this protein from the diet. Now, if you start getting nails that are what? Start getting your nails that are splitting, right? You have getting hair, the end of the hair that starts splitting, not because you dye your hair, but like normal hair, right? Without dyeing it. And you're actually putting protein and conditioner and all the shampoos and all these treatments, and your ends of the hair are still splitting up. What does that mean? Well, that means that you are deficient in what? Which is a type of? What should you look into? Because again, you are what you eat. So if you are what you eat, well, it's the quality of what you eat, right? So you need to eat a good quality of protein, a good quality of everything, right? What is a good quality? As long as it's protein, right? It doesn't have to be alive. It could be protein. Most of the protein that we ingest is not alive, is what? Dead. All right, so anyway, so quality of the food that we take. Now, multicellular exocrine glands. So what is multicellular exocrine glands? Well, exocrine glands is the one that contains what? A duct system, right? So all exocrine glands have a duct system, bless you, times 3. So that duct system allows you to put the content of the gland to the outside. In this case, it will be outside of your skin, right? Now, regardless whether the exocrine glands is inside or outside the body, they all contain a what? A duct. Versus endocrine glands that have no duct. But we're not here for endocrine. We're here for what? Exocrine. So what are different type of exocrine glands? We have oily glands, which we don't call it oily glands. We call them what? And this oil, what allows for lubrication and prevents bacterial infection in our skin. Right? These are sebaceous glands, which are attached to the hair follicle. And then you have your SW. What is SW? Sweat glands. So these sweat glands allows you to do what? Cool your body down, right? And then you have your ceruminous gland. You guys know what cerumen is, right? You've seen the Shrek movie? that makes a candle out of his earwax. So that's rumen, right? That is a example, a really graphic example of ceruminous gland in work. So, and then you have, I put it as a different thing, but it's not, is a modified sweat gland that is known as the breast milk. Who can produce breast milk? Women, right? Women. So what about guys? Can we produce breast milk? We are equipped with the equipment, but we do not produce breast milk. Why? Because the different levels of prolactin. And ladies, do you produce breast milk all the time? No. You're like, I'm not a cow. Yeah, you're not. So when you are pregnant, right, on the last stage, on the last trimester of pregnancy, what's going to happen? Your breast will then get what? Engorged. Filled with what? With breast milk. And that is because you have a hormone that is increased, and that is known as prolactin. Right? And that's the reason why you breastfeed at that moment, because of the high levels of prolactin. But the nice thing about it is that if guys were to have a prolactinoma, a tumor of your pineal gland, they can actually produce breast milk. Okay, I mean, it's not fun. It's sad for the person, and it's just fun to watch that a guy can make breast milk. Anyway, so general functions, protection. Protection is against what? Chemical barriers. Can you tell me a couple of chemicals that you put in your skin and you love it? Actually, you pay for them. Perfume. Some of them are really expensive. Right? The oil-based ones are the most expensive one. Is eau de parfum. Right? I don't know how you pronounce that, but that's what it is. Most of us, we buy the perfume that's eau de toilette, or I don't know how you pronounce that either. But that is, one is water-based and the other is oil-based, right? The oil-based ones are the ones that are more expensive ones. They're about $100 over. I've never seen the other ones cheaper than that. But anyway, so that chemical perfume, what else? Soap, creams, deodorants, right? Anything that we put on the skin most likely will contain chemicals. Even clothing. I'm sorry? Clothing. So when you buy clothing, whoever manufactures the clothing, they put a code, right, of antibacterial, and they put another code of silicone on it, just to prevent from the actual strings to do what? To get damage, right, on the transportation until they last longer. So you should do what? Wash your clothes before you wear them. I know a lot of people like to put the clothes just from the hanger into yourself, but it's bad for you. So anyway, physical and chemical and mechanical barrier. It is a physical barrier because it gets used to sort of a protection, right? And then mechanical is if you were to have an abrasion, so if you were to touch your skin against the wall or something like that, that is going to be a mechanical barrier as well. Now, what is a biological barrier? A biological barrier is because there is some sort of life on your skin.
Life?
Life. There's life. Your skin is alive, right?
No.
Well, not the outer part of the skin. The outer part of the skin is dead. And we shed skin every day, every single minute. And actually, to tell you the truth, every 15 days, you shed skin. 15 to 30 days, you shed skin. Shedding. When I said the word shedding, what comes to mind? Snake. Oh, nice. You are a snake. Or you can be a dog or a cat. They all shed what? Hair. So yeah, you are shedding skin. So, but in that skin, there is living organisms, and that living organism is known as Staphylococcus. Staph. Have you guys ever heard of staph? Have you guys ever heard of strep throat? How many of you had a strep throat before? Almost everybody. I mean, name one person who never had a strep throat or sore throat.
What?
Sore throat. Dolor de garganta. So most of us had a strep throat already. And what do you think they call a strep throat? Because on your nose and in your mouth, there's one main organism that lives there, and that is called streptococcus. So in your skin, you have staphylococcus, and in your nose and throat, only streptococcus, mainly. These organisms, they prevent only other organisms from invading. Okay? So let's say, for example, right now, I touch the table, And now, whatever organisms are there, now they are in my what? In my hand. Now they're in my clothing. Now they're in my face. Now they are inside my eye. So we have microorganisms around our surface areas that protect any other organism from invading the place that is already theirs. Okay? So next time you're sharing skin with somebody, just grabbing hands, know that you're sharing Staphylococcus colonies. Next time that you're sharing a kiss with somebody, know that you're sharing not only staph, but Streptococcus colonies. That's why in new relationships, you end up having some sort of sore throat. Actually, one of the major ones, and that is a disease, is known as mono. Have you guys ever heard of mono? Not the one in the zoo, mononucleosis. Mononucleosis is the Keystone disease. Yeah? And that is because colonies, right? Going back and forth. So that's why. You had a question?
Yeah, I thought staphylococcus was something bad.
Staph is not bad. Or population of staph is bad, but you all have staph in your skin. They're different colonies. So your skin staph may not be coincide with mine. But most of the time, when we bathe, when we do the soap, right? When we bathe, what happens? You're removing stuff, right? And they're growing again. That's all the time. So, excretion of what? What do you excrete in your skin? Salt? Water? Ammonia? Urea? Oh no, I know. It's just sweat. I'm sorry, I'm confused. All I'm telling you is that sweat is mainly composed of what? Is your sweat solid or liquid?
Water.
So it's mostly water. Then
It's
it's salty, right? Then it has ammonia. Ammonia is a byproduct of protein degradation. So whenever you use proteins, it degrades the protein into that. And urea. Urea, where's urea supposed to be? Urea in your urine, right? But, well, it can actually be in your sweat. Now, the next thing is body temperature regulation, and that is through what? Sweat glands, and that was the exocrine glands that we talked about, right? The one that has the duct. And all it does is just, it produces a vasodilation, increases the diameter of the blood vessels on the periphery of your body. That means on your arms and legs, right? Next to the skin surfaces, and allows for heat to be transferred from the blood vessels into the skin, into the sweat. Okay? So the sweat is going to cool down the skin. As a side effect, it cools down your blood. So, production of melanin. Who produces melanin? Some cells. Cells, we call it sites. So they are known as melanocytes. So melanocytes are the ones who produce melanin. What is melanin good for? Well, melanin is a pigment. And the more pigment you have in your skin, the better you're off against what? UV radiation. There are two main types of UV radiation. One is UVA, and the other is UVB. So UVA is mainly for aging, which is one of the effects of UV radiation is it damages your skin into a form that it breaks down your collagen, it breaks down your elastic fibers, so your skin starts to get saggy and wrinkled. The B part of the UV is that it's bad for you because it actually damages your DNA, and that it is able to increase the chances of producing cancer. Okay, cancer. So UVA, UVB. Please know that. The next one is production of keratin. We talked about what? Keratin already, right? Keratin, we said, is a form of protein. What are the cells that produce keratin? Take a wild guess. What are the cells that produce keratin? Guys, it doesn't take that long. What are the cells that produce melanin? Melanocytes. What are the cells that produce keratin? Keratinocytes. That's what they are. So, just sites at the end. Now, keratin, again, is the one that allows you prevents against abrasion, and it's also good for water repellent. We said that the skin is a semi-permeable membrane, right? Some things may go through, others don't. So that water repellent function is through the keratin. Now, metabolic functions, your skin is capable of making, synthesizing, creating vitamin D3. From where? Where do you make vitamin D3? As the sun ray hits your dermis, your epidermis, dermis, and the subcutaneous tissue, at that level, your body makes or synthesizes vitamin D3 on the subcutaneous level. Now, vitamin 3 has a main role, and that role is to deposit what? Calcium in the actual bones. Vitamin D3 as well, not deposit, but allows you to do what? Increase the absorption of both calcium and phosphorus. Okay? Now, vitamin D3 does its function only when vitamin D3 is activated. If our vitamin D3 is inactive, then it doesn't do anything at all. It does not absorb and it does not deposit anything. Do you know the difference between active and inactive? Okay. Active is that you have a castle 3 blocks from here, and you have no key for it, and you can't get inside. Do you really have a house? No. So that's inactive. You have it, it's there, but you cannot use it. Active means that you have the key for the house. Now you do have a house, you do have a place to stay. Okay? So active means that it does the function, which is allows you to absorb and deposit calcium and phosphorus into the bone. Inactive means that is there, you're just gonna pee it out. Okay? Now, what organs in your body allows you to activate this vitamin D3? And that is the liver, that is gonna be your liver and your kidney. So liver and kidney are the ones who are going to activate your vitamin D3. Everybody got that? So if you have somebody who has liver failure, so damaged liver, or kidney failure, damaged kidneys, will they have proper amount of vitamin D3? Active vitamin D3. No. Will they have proper amount of calcium and phosphate absorption or deposition in their bones? Most likely not, because that's the place that it gets activated. So if I give you a sample of somebody who has liver failure, and I told you that I have low levels of calcium, what could be affected? Vitamin D3. Okay? As a side effect, they will have, instead of having strong bones, they will have what? Weak bones. Weak bones. Now, storage of lipids. Your skin is also able to produce, to store lipids, and that is at the subcutaneous level. And lipids are stored in these specific cells. These are known as adipocytes. Okay. So what are these adipocytes are going to do? Well, adipocytes are the cells that are going to get the fatty acid that you take from the diet, and they're going to store it in the form of what? Of 3-acylglycerol, triglycerides. So that means inside these cells, what do you have? Triglycerides. What is the other name for adipocytes? Fat cells, love handles, Cheetos. Okay? So whenever you intake too much calories, your body's always going to try to save it for a rainy day. Always. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to or not. Okay? So then you have cutaneous sensations. Cutaneous sensations are provided by 3 main structures, and that is 1, see if you get it, the first one is M. What does M stand for? 2 by P, and 3 by F. So how do you provide sensation? M means what? What structure in the skin allows you to feel pain, touch, and temperature? Meissner corpuscles. What other structure allows you to feel pain and touch and temperature starting with P? Pacinian or lamellated corpuscles. The main difference between the two is that Pacinian is a deep touch. Think about a P for punching. Punching is supposed to be what? Hard, right? So it's a deep touch. Meissner's is just a light touch. And then the last one, 3, is free nerve endings, which allows you to feel things not only from the hair follicle itself, but within the cell, within the epidermis as well. So 3 structures that allow you for cutaneous sensation. So what are the main layers of the skin? From outer to inner, you have your epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. What is the other word for hypodermis? So if you see the word subcutaneous layer, please know that that is the same thing as a hypodermis. The epidermis, how many layers by itself? 5 layers. Dermis, how many layers by itself? 2. Do you see it? Subcutaneous layer, how many layers by itself? Just 1. Okay? So, we're going to go later on into the 5 layers. I'm going to show you in the next slide. But now let's focus on the dermis. So dermis have 2 layers, right? That is going to be a papillary layer, which you can see here in green. And then you have your reticular layer, which you can see there in yellow. So which out of the 2 is the thickest of them all, or the biggest? Reticular, right? Is the biggest of them all, reticular. It's all this yellow that I drew here, right? All this. That is all your reticular yellow. So you need to know the structures by layers of the dermis. So what structures are found in the papillary layer? What structures are known on the reticular layer? So papillary layer, mainly you have your dermopapillas, and you have these guys, which I know is kind of small. What are these guys called? Right here, guys. Meissner corpuscles, right? Everything else is what? Mainly on the reticular layer, guys. Everything else is mainly on the reticular layer. So we're just doing this too. Papillary layer versus reticular layer. Now, for the hypodermis or subcutaneous tissue is only 1 layer. Application-wise, well, we have our injections. What are the different sites of injections or injection sites in the body? IB, IM, and SC. What is IB? Intravenous, inside the vein. We don't inject arteries. IM means what? Intramuscular, so the needle goes into the muscle. And then we have what? HC, which is what? Subcutaneous injections. This one is mainly for what? The most common one that we use, diabetic individuals. What do they inject? See, almost everybody knows this. So there's a lot of diabetics nowadays. Why? Why is diabetes hitting us so hard? Anybody tell me? What do you think? The food. First thing is, there's a lot of diabetes because as diabetes increases, it's increasing because there's a lot of what? Obesity on the country. Not worldwide, actually. Well, not worldwide, but mainly in this country, United States. Right? Now, the other thing is, yeah, she's right, the food. Every single day that passes, they invent a cheaper way to make food, right? Or to sweeten the food. But that doesn't mean that it's healthier for you. It makes you more addictive to the food. It is more caloric dense. What is a caloric dense? That means is in 1 tablespoon, it is worth 200 calories, while you can eat something that is a tablespoon, it is only worth 5 calories. What would you rather have? The 5 or the 500? The 5 is the salad, the 500 is the fried chicken. Just to put it in perspective. That's what it is. And salads without dressing, just in case you notice. If you start putting dressing on the salad, well, that salad just becomes a plate of rice. So just eat the plate of rice. So don't get confused. But that is caloric intake. All right? The next thing is that we have is what? Liposuction. We can do something with that. What are we going to do? How's the best way to lose a couple of adipocytes? Go to the gym for a whole 6 months or a month, and then train, and then run and exercise. Oh my God, my heart. No, just do liposuction. That's what people do, right? Did you not? That's what a lot of people do. If you want to keep whatever you have, and you want to transfer whatever is here to here, or here to here, or here to there, or whatever you want, nowadays you can do it. That is liposuction. Now there's a side effect of that. I would like for you guys to know, and that is a fat embolus. As the surgeon goes in, a needle goes in here and starts destroying everything here, including what? These capillaries, the arteries and veins. Right in there. So one of these fat plaques, this fat, adipocytes, or Google them, can actually go into your bloodstream, and they can go all the way into your lungs, right? Or in your heart, or in your brain. So that's an embolus, and you can die from it. It's one of the side effects. It's really minimal, but there is there. The next thing we have is application for the upper portion, which is your epidermis, and that is something known as dermatitis. Dermatitis is an inflammation of the epidermis, right? So in epidermis, how many layers? 5. Let's look at it. So we're doing epidermis, and you have 5 layers for those. Let me open that up. So the first layer that we have is stratum germinativum, and/or stratum basale, and/or basal lamina. I'm sorry, I get confused. You have 3 names for layer number 1. They're synonyms of each other, right? So, does anybody have a nickname? Nobody has a nickname? Okay, so just an example. Your name is blah, 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 right? And your nickname is just blah. Okay? So this guy has 2 nicknames. So his name is basal lamina, and they call him stratum basale, and they call him stratum germinativum as well. Why is it called stratum germinativum? Because things germinate from here. What is germination? Growing, right? When things are growing. Stratum basale, that is the base. And they call it basal lamina because it's like a film, right? That is just on the base. So that is your first layer. Everything grows from here on. What are the cells of your skin? Well, the main cell of your skin is known as the keratinocytes, which is the one that produces keratin. And they're actually, they are germinate from there, from the stratum germinativum, or basale. Then you have the next layer up, which is the stratum spinosum, then stratum granulosum, then stratum lucidum, then last stratum corneum. Okay? I guess the mnemonic is some girls can skate backwards, something like that. I'll give it to you later. But that's to learn all the 5 layers. Now, do you have all those 5 layers in every single part of your body? Is that a yes or a no? Do you have 5 layers of skin in all your body? What do you think? Okay, keep that in mind. So, based on the layers, again, close to the stratum germinativum or basale, as we see here, you have your Merkel cells, you have your melanocytes, and as well you have your keratinocytes. They all germinate from here. So keratinocytes, as they grow, they produce what? Keratin. Melanocytes, as they grow, they produce what? Melanin. So melanocytes produce melanin. Keratinocytes produce what? Keratin. So melanin, you guys already know what that is for, right? Protection of UV rays. Keratinocytes produce keratin, right? That's the water barrier. and as well as prevents against abrasion. You also have a couple of cells, and these cells are Merkel cells. We're going to talk about them. It's just about sensation of your skin. You have your Langerhans or dendritic cells. So please note, dendritic Langerhans cells equals what? A WBC, a white blood cell. So what is a white blood cell? Anybody tell me what a white blood cell is? Yeah, it's what defends your body. So this is the defense system of your body. This is the one that fights in the infections. So if you see the word dendritic cell or Langerhans cell in the test, what do you think of? White blood cell. What is the function? Defend the body. Okay? That's pretty much it. Now, the next one up, mainly found on the stratum granulosum, and that is a dying keratinocytes. So normally, as you are born, you are what? A newborn, you grow, toddler, right? Then, a child, then, you guys don't know the stages? A child, then early adolescence, mid, late. Some of you may be late adolescence. What is late adolescence? Late.
18, 19.
Right? And then you become early adulthood and so forth, right? As you grow, as the keratinocytes grow, well, as we age, well, the keratinocytes age, so they start to die. At the point that at the outermost stratum corneum, these keratinocytes are, I'm sorry, I meant to emphasize the word what? Dead. Like they're no longer existing. Okay? How long does it take for these cells to migrate from the stratum basale all the way to the stratum corneum? It takes about 15 days, more or less 2 weeks. How long does it take for you after you cut your skin to regenerate new skin? How long? 2 days? So if I cut your skin right now, in 2 days, everything is good?
It depends on how profound.
Cutting means you get to see blood. The other stuff is not called cutting, it's called scrape. So if you see blood, how long does it take to get a new skin there? 2 weeks, like 15 days. Now, sadly, that changes. As you get older, what happens? It takes longer. So let's go in detail about the layers of the skin. We said that you have 5 layers of the skin, correct? But there's one here that I would like to take your attention, and that is number 4. And that is, you have stratum corneum, then stratum... Oh, it says thick skin. Yeah, stratum lucidum. That means that stratum lucidum is only found on... Oh my God. Is only found on what? Thick skin, correct? So, you have 2 types of skins. You have thick and you have what? Thin. Where do you have thin skin? Please touch yourself. Where do you have thick skin? Palms and soles of the feet. Okay? That's where you have thick skin. That means that stratum lucidum is only found on thick skin. How many layers on thick skin? 5. How many layers on thin skin? 4. So again, keratinization takes about 2 weeks, more or less. So about 15 to 30 days to move anything from the stratum basale to the stratum corneum. So what is in the actual stratum corneum? Well, it's about, again, 15 to 30 layers. Which one is the corneum, guys, by the way? The outermost, right, the top. So 15 to 30 layers of, we said already, dead Keratinocytes, right? We said that everything in there on the outside is dead. But it's the one that gives you what? Whatever cells I mentioned before. Stratum lucidum. We said lucidum is only found where? Thick skin. Palms and soles. Or feet. Stratum granulosum. That one is mainly houses what? Keratinocytes. That's where the majority of them are found. Of course, they produce keratinocytes. Produce what? Guys? Keratin. And you also have this, which is keratohyalin. Just in case you see that word, I doubt it's going to be on the test, but keratohyalin, it's same thing that is produced by the keratinocytes. Stratum spinosum is about 8 to 10 layers, but the main thing here is that it has what? Langerhans cells. We said that Langerhans cells are what type of cells? White blood cells. And white blood cells are part of your immune system. It fights infections. What type of cells are those? Well, those are known as M and that 0 that I put there. I call that a macrophage or macrophage. A macrophage is actually what? Have you ever seen Pac-Man? The little cartoon that is circle that is walk, walk, walk and eats things? Well, that's what a macrophage actually does. Any cell debris, any damaged tissue, any bacteria that is capable of eating, the proper word will be engulfing, right? As your cell engulfs things, engulfing will be the macrophage function, to clean, to fight infections. So, Langerhans cells is a white blood cell, is part of your immune system, and I also give you one more thing, is a macrophage, right? A macrophage. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. Stratum germinativum and basale, and the basal you have a Merkel cells, as well as melanocytes. So melanocytes, UV, Merkel cells, and that is for light touch. I know we didn't talk about Merkel cells, right? We only talked about 3 ones that I give you at the beginning, and that was what? Meissner's, Pacinian, and free nerve endings, right? So add one more, 4, which is what? Merkel cells.
And that's for like
Only light touch.
I have a question. There's is that the ones that are in the hair follicles?
Merkel cells?
Yeah, doesn't hair also have?
The hair follicles are the free nerve endings bind to it. Merkel cells are on the actual skin. Free nerve endings are the ones that bind to the hair follicles.
like Mason.
Let me show. Yeah, it's like, no, pain, touch, and temperature. This is just what?
Yeah.
Light touch. Now, going over the 5 layers, can little girls skate backwards? Can little girls skate backwards? Corneum, lucidum, granulosum, spinosum, and basale. 5 layers. You like the mnemonic? If you don't like it, don't use it. Find another one. Just Google it up. Mnemonic to learn 5 layers. Okay? We already talked about papillary layers, so I'm not going to go into that. Now, dermis. On the dermis, yes, we have papillary and reticular layer. We already talked about different parts of the papillary and reticular layers. But on the dermis, you need to have what? Blood supply, because the dermis is the middle, right? And it supplies blood to the top, which is what? Your epidermis. Mainly to what portion? The stratum basale, that's where everything germinates, right? So, what is the blood supply for the dermis that houses the epidermis? And that will be what? Cutaneous plexus. This is the one found on the main area, the most abundant, right? The reticular layer of the whole dermis. You have another one which is papillary plexus. And if you look at the word, papillary means what? Papilla, right? Papillary layer? That's what it is. It's just a bunch of capillaries that gives oxygen and nutrients to the papillary layer. We also have venous plexus. Venous does what? Transport CO2 and waste products out of your skin. So those three are the blood supply to the dermis. So cutaneous plexus, papillary, and venous plexus. Now please note that in here we're going to talk about a condition, and that is known as what? Contusion, right? A contusion is a damaged blood vessel that gives you sort of black and blue, right? Which is caused by, we know that as bruising, correct? How many of you had a bruise before? Everybody. So when you bruise, what are the colors? Blue. The first thing that when you bruise is what? Why we call bruising? Because as you hit the wall or something, what is happening to it? You're damaging the blood vessels in the actual skin. What are you damaging? The cutaneous plexus, the papillary plexus, or even the venous plexus. As you break the vein or the arteries, what is happening? Blood is being released from the actual vessels. And then as blood is released from the actual vessels, the color of the blood is what?
Blue.
Red. The color of the blood is red. The color of the blood is red. Then as it starts to coagulate, as it starts to get oxidized, then it becomes purple. Like a maroon, darkish, bluish purple. Then bluish, and this is just the process of oxidation. Becomes green, then a dark yellow, then a light yellow until it returns back to normal color of your skin. Have you noticed that before? If you haven't, please look at it from now on. You see that that's how it goes. So, after all these dead red blood cells are in there, who's going to clean the cell debris? The macrophage, the Pac-Man. Okay? So as it cleans all the debris, you can see the debris that now are inside this macrophage. So again, what are the macrophages of the skin? What's the other name for it? No, they are type of white blood cells. What's the actual name for these macrophages? They have a name. Dendritic or Langerhans cells. So keep that in mind, guys. Okay? So what is highlighting green is your papillary layer, and what do you have? Dermopapilla, the papillary plexus, right? The plexus that we talked about for blood, and Meissner's corpuscles. That is all part of your what? Your reticular layer of the dermis. That is all part of your papillary layer of the dermis. The rest of it, highlighted in yellow, is what? Oh, that's papillary layer in green. Let me just keep the same color code. It's your reticular layer. So reticular layer is what? What are structures that are found in the reticular layer? Sebaceous glands, sweat glands, and Pacinian corpuscles. Everybody got that? So you need to know the structures and what do they belong to, what layer of the dermis. Okay? So let's talk about these. Difference between Meissner corpuscles versus Pacinian corpuscles. Meissner's, light touch. Pacinian, deep touch. Merkel, light touch, just like what? Meissner's, but these guys, they're found only on what? Hairless skin. What do you have hairless skin? The eyes are not part of your skin. It's part of your ectoderm, but not your skin. But that's not called the eye. That's the eyelid. Bueno, it's not an eye. No, I didn't. I was thinking of the eye. So there are parts of your body that you should not have what? Hair. And those parts are what? Palms of your hands, soles of your feet, lips, not around them, and parts of your genital areas, which is the clitoris and the glands of the penis. The next thing up, we're going to talk about the folds of tissue in your skin that is made out of your stratum basale. This forms something known as epidermal, means it's in the epidermis, and they're called what? Ridges. So epidermal ridges are no more than your what? Your fingerprints. What are fingerprints good for? Fingerprints are unique to each one of us. That means when you're born, what is the first thing that they do? Do they take your fingerprints? No. When you're born, feet, right? They take each one of your foot and then your little hands, right? But not for fingerprinting. But the foot's are. As you grow older and you need to get your passport, anybody has an American passport? What do? Whether you're born in the States or not, you all have to get what? Then thumb printing, then retinal printing, probably. I kid you not. They are going to start soon. Take my word for it, retinal printing. Which is what? The retina of each one of us is unique to ourselves. That is something that's been going on for a long time, guys, nowadays. I mean, if you go now, your phones have that. Facial recognition. I mean, when you go to the airport, here in Miami airport, they take your fingerprint and as well, you have to look into a camera for facial recognition. Okay? So, fingerprinting is unique. What can we do with it? Play. Do you play with your fingerprints all the time? Yes. Because you touch, and every time you touch, you'll get abrasions, you put chemicals in your hands and all these things, right? As long as it's not chronically, and as long as you don't damage your stratum basale fully, your fingerprints will always grow back. Can you sand your fingerprints? You can sand them down. You can peel them off. You can burn your hand, but it's always gonna grow back. Unless you burn, you have a 3rd-degree burn, right? A 3rd-degree burn, all you're gonna get is scar tissue. And then your fingerprint will be gone, right? For that hand. Now you have the other hand because they take fingerprints of both hands, right? Each digit. Right. So where do you find this epidermal ridges? Only on thick skin. Have a good one, guys.
Just a quick question. I was wondering, because I have a practical for coming up.
Bueno, primero traté de mandártelo por allá por el Blackboard, pero